Hey friends, hey leaders, it's MJ Gordon. Today I want to talk to you about how to let go of the hard stuff. And we're going to make it really easy stuff by the time we're done with this episode. So before we get started, I want to hear from you. I'm now taking your questions via voicemail on the number on the screen right here. If you want to call me and ask your number and get that question answered live, give that a call and leave your question on my voicemail. So how do we let go of the hard stuff? And what is the hard stuff anyways? The hard stuff is that stuff when you're going through your home and you're decluttering and you're thinking about getting rid of this thing, but it just seems so hard to let go. We have some sort of guilt or potential value involved in our minds, or we have some sunk cost bias, something we invested a lot of our time and energy on and now feel like we can't let this thing go. And it makes it really difficult to know whether or not we're supposed to be having this thing. But let's talk about first why it's important to let go of these items. They could be friends, they could be habits, they could be that really yummy snack that you just can't help but buy at the grocery store, and then every time it's in your cabinet you wonder why the hell you bought it in the first place, because now you're just fighting not eating this snack all the time. I do that all the time. I go to Whole Foods and it's all over. But why it's important is because everything in our lives cost us. They take up space, they produce clutter. They also take up our time, our energy, which, as you know, is the most valuable assets, things that we can't get back once they've been used. And they also occupy space in our lives. So if we only have so much space in our lives for, well, everything that we try to fit in it, when we put something in our lives that aren't serving us or adding value, then we're taking away the opportunity for something that truly does add value, meaning, and fulfillment to occupy that space in our lives. So many people say, I don't have time for the important stuff. I don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have time to read those books. I don't have time to research on that business that I really wanted to start. And the truth is you don't have time because there's all this other stuff occupying your time and space. And if you get really honest about it, you'll find how much time we really do waste or spend on things that don't add to the most important things that we hold valuable in our lives. So identifying the things that are hard to let go of, or when you come up on that thing that's just sitting in the corner of the closet and you're like, every time I declutter, I just kind of browse over that item, but for some reason you can't let go, then maybe you can ask yourself these questions. Now, these questions are going to make it a lot simpler to help you. It certainly helped me. But before we get to the questions, let's talk about what questions you shouldn't be asking yourself. The first question that you should not be asking yourself is this thing useful? Almost everything we find, we can probably create some reason for ourselves that it's useful. My husband is notorious for this, and I love him for it because he tries to recycle. He doesn't want to waste anything, but he will keep everything and be like, well, that could be a potential paint palette someday just in case. All of the things that, make us hoard stuff. He's notorious for trying to do that because he doesn't want to waste, but he's not a hoarder. He doesn't like to waste. But instead of asking ourselves, is this useful? Or can I use this in the future? Because that's another one. Well, will I possibly make use for this? Or do I like it? Those questions, we can always find a reason to. If you find yourself trying to convince yourself that you like it or that you can use it, then you definitely know that it's not something that should be around. And that's something that I've sort of reversed even when I'm shopping for something outside of decluttering. It's the same perspective I use in both. Instead of saying, well, why do I like this? I try to almost convince myself and say, well, why can I live without it? What can I do instead? Or I haven't been, so why should I keep it or buy it? So the questions you should be asking instead, number one, is this adding value now? Am I using it? Have I been using it? Is it something that's contributing to my life, to the key elements of my everyday vacation, that feeling of flow and ease and excitement and experiencing life? Is it contributing to that? Because if it isn't, it doesn't matter what the potential value is. Everything holds some sort of potential value, but that value is not manifested if we're not actually going to use that item for the value that it holds. The second question you can ask yourself is, if you did not have this item now, would you buy it again? Game changer. This one was a game changer for me because so many things I was like, oh, I wouldn't. And I realized that it was totally sunk cost bias. I was invested in the item because I felt like I was wasting the money I had spent on it, which means I was wasting the time and energy that I had spent to make the money to spend the money on it. And every single day that you hold on to something, you're basically paying for it again. So if you can sell it or gain value monetarily or physically out of it, you're just purchasing it again with your time, your energy, your space. And for something that I can sell, even if it does reduce in value and it's not something I can foresee purchasing in the near future, I'm better putting that money into something else, like an investment or something that I'm going to enjoy and that's going to contribute value to my life right now. The third and last question you can ask yourself is, if you would buy it again, how much would you be willing to pay for that item? If you're willing to pay for that item significantly more than it costs, then it's really easy to keep it and justify having it in your life. But an example that I have of this is my drone. I like my drone. I used to fly my drone a lot. I am not licensed to fly here. So I have not been flying my drone, and I just haven't taken the time, and it hasn't served enough value in my life to go do it. And so the drone's been sitting, and that drone has significantly reduced in its value and what I can sell it for. But the truth of the matter is, I haven't taken it out to fly in over a year, and I don't foresee the need or want to fly a drone in the near future. Considering that it's tech and it's going to decrease in value the longer it sits, I'm better off selling it right now. And when I'm ready to fly a drone, I would be willing to purchase another one for the same cost or even more for a better quality drone, which more than likely is going to occur because technology improves so quickly. So I put my drone up for sale. It's for sale, everyone, letting you know. So I put it up for sale because I can use that money to something more productive, something more value adding in my life right now. So what are some things that you find difficult to let go? What are some of the hard stuff in your life? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure you hit the thumbs up if you like these kinds of videos and topics. Also, if you want your questions to be answered live, feel free to call that number on the screen and leave me a voicemail with your name, where you're from, and your question, and maybe I'll answer it live. Thanks again for joining me here. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week, and I will catch you in the next episode. Ciao for now.